Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the performance of the INT Yamcha unit in the red zone, and we're going to see just how good he does. For this one I managed to find a 55% Yamcha, which will be nice to take a look at considering like I've only been able to find rainbow Yamchas, so I think it's a pretty cool kind of premise. So yeah, Yamcha, if you're looking for a review on him, I've got one of him at 100%, still trying to do one at 55. But yeah, basically Yamcha, before we get into his details, let's talk about specifically why this red zone. So sometimes I'll take units into red zones where they face someone that's way stronger than them. So for example, if we take a look at my Super Saiyan 3 Bardock red zone, I took Super Saiyan 3 Bardock into Metal Core Cooler, and he obviously faces a physical type unit there, and that was to test the limits of his defensive raising. Now with Yamcha we don't need to test the limits of his defensive raising. Yamcha hits at 55% around 330k. So what that means is, if we take him into Metal Core Cooler, essentially we are going to lose around 300,000 health if we get hit once by him, which isn't great. Obviously Yamcha, is an evasion based unit, and so he could definitely do the Metal Core Cooler event if you get lucky enough with evasions. That's not a slight on Yamcha, but we're not going to learn anything we don't know about Yamcha. We know that he needs to evade. That's something that's obvious. But against Metal Core Cooler the gap is super duper small, and so it makes it quite difficult to evaluate him as a unit, because when your margin for error is get hit once and die, it's kind of pointless. So we'll use the Omega Shenron event because it's kind of a similar concept. Omega Shenron hits really hard, but he just doesn't have type disadvantage, or type advantage I should say, for himself. And basically what this means is this just kind of gives us a little bit more wiggle room to try and work around Yamcha and see how good he is. And effectively he can take more than one hit, which is just the premise of it. So obviously there are some other cool usability aspects to Yamcha in this stage, which we will take a look at. But yeah, that kind of explains why. And also Broly, obviously Broly red zone. Broly red zone shuts down evasion, so bringing a unit that relies on evasion at 55% is not great. 100% Yamcha can actually tank normals if he activates Turtle School, which is quite hard to do, but he can tank normals against the power of Broly, and against most red zones except for Metal Core Cooler. So it's not like Yamcha is bad, but just wanted to kind of preface a little bit about it. Now in terms of Yamcha, obviously I think two things really stick out when you look at Yamcha, and that's always the case. But the first is leader skill. I think Yamcha's leader skill is very, very good. Like, I think Earthbred Fighters is such a big diverse category. Him giving 30% to Turtle School units basically means all Gokus have a 200% leader under him, which is pretty, it's pretty good. It's a pretty important aspect to understanding how well Yamcha does, to have such a strong leader skill, and it allows for a lot of versatility. I mean, right now you're seeing us run him under a Kamehameha team, you could see us run him under an Earthlings team, you could see me run him under just so many teams. Where the Rivals has enough Earthbred Fighters units, he's got like enough melee ability within his one super strong lead skill that he's got quite a few different team builds. The second thing that sticks out with Yamcha is RNG. So as you guys can see from his passive, there's a lot of chances to do things. High chance of evading, medium chance of crit, double high chance of firing a super, but only if you evade an attack before he fires an attack. It's like a lot of RNG. So what this means is you're going to have turns, like right here, where Yamcha basically doesn't attack, crits, does a second attack, crits, does pretty big damage, and then evades because he's now got 70% evasion. There we go. And he looks great. Here we go. Another evasion. Boom. Super clutch. Super duper clutch. Here, he looks great. You know, you look at him, wow. You know, how good is Yamcha? Well, that's how good Yamcha can be. You know, eliminates almost 2 bars of damage off the boss. Could have potentially done another super attack. Only 55% as well. Does evasion because he's now got 70% evasion. It's just, you know, kind of important to note that when Yamcha's up, he's up. And then you're going to see later on, when you don't get the evasions, when things don't go your way, then obviously he can look like a fraud in inverted commas. But I hate that term. And the thing is it's not that he is a fraud. It's just that that's how these units work. It's very similar to MUI Goku. AGL MUI Goku at his very best looks still to this day ridiculous because he's got 70% evasion. Yeah, he can evade so many attacks. Look at AGL Super Saiyan Gogeta. Although he's obviously got quite a high level of base defense, but look at AGL Super Saiyan Gogeta. He can look insane based off of his evasion. Or he can look, you know, alright. Like when he gets hit by a super attack, okay, he's dead. That's just one of those things. It's really important to note just how Yamcha's, you know, performance is correlated to how good the RNG is at the time you're looking at him. You can take a Yamcha in, and on that day, at that time period, your Yamcha is dominating. He's evading everything he needs to. He's getting off every additional super. He's getting off every bit of crit chance. And he's just absolutely decimating people. Or alternatively, you see absolutely bugger all, and he gets insta-clocked by the first attack that he gets hit, and doesn't dodge a super, and you die, and you make no progress. That's just RNG. It's a lot of fun, but it is interesting. So, obviously having discussed that kind of aspect to Yamcha, what does he bring to Red Zone? Well, he does do a couple interesting things for Red Zone. So, he, for example, can do some really interesting, like, kind of gimmicks. So I think, firstly, his active skill is interesting, especially against Omega Shenron, or bosses that evade. So, like in Omega Shenron's case, Omega Shenron evades, and it can be a little bit irritating. You've got Yamcha. Yamcha can guarantee hits, so it does help out. It also counts towards the stack, towards his, you know, like, overall evasion. So that's pretty good. I think that's pretty solid when you look at things. What else can he bring? Well, damage. Damage is obviously Yamcha's MO. It's his priority. It's, you know, what he thrives on. The amount of damage that he does is always something that's super duper helpful. I think it's, you know, incredibly solid. His damage, it's consistent. Obviously, you have turns where it can really pop off, but I would say even on his worst turn, in inverted commas, I would say Yamcha's probably still solid offensively. I would never say he's distinctly bad offensively. You know, I would never say that he's terrible offensively. Like, I think the lowest, you know, those 55% versions hit is around the 4 million attack stat. He can still crit off of that. He can still fire an additional attack, which he has a pretty decent chance of getting. Yeah, I just don't see his offense being bad, ever. Like, even at 55%. You know, Tech Bardock is a unit that takes a pretty long time to build up. And, like, when he's built up, he's good, but he's not insane. But then, you know, Yamcha doesn't seem to have that issue. Yamcha seems quite solid, I would say, overall. Yeah, he seems like a very reliable kind of unit, at least for me. And yeah, I think his leader skill is really good. I think if you've got Yamcha and you're looking to just use a very strong team, Earthbred Fighters is that very strong team. It's just very consistent, very powerful, does a very good job, and yeah, can just hold down the fort basically. It's really, really solid. So yeah, Yamcha, very impressed with him. I think he does a good job. Obviously, here we want to take a look at how well he does. We want to be, like aware of his potential failings, and one of them is just not evading. Like I said, his raw defense, especially at 55%, is just not spectacularly high, and with it not being spectacularly high, the propensity for him to potentially get supered into oblivion or even just hit for a lot of damage is there. And yeah, obviously, in theory you don't have to put him in the first slot, of course, which is fine. Here we go. See, there we go, 284,000 damage. Excellent. I know you don't have to put him in the first slot, but we just want to see. Remember, the thing about Yamcha is to maximize his offense, he has to evade before he fires supers. He doesn't gain defense on supers. I think they should have made him gain defense. Even if they invented a new modifier, like a 10% modifier for Yamcha, like he gains 10% for one turn or whatever, I think it would have helped. Honestly, I think it would have helped. Would have made him a little bit better. But yeah, you can see, like, when he doesn't get that evasion, it's just not working. At 55%, it's not at 100% or 2 dupes, he would be okay. Tanking for a little bit of damage, but we'd still be fine. But yeah, that's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.